Mendeville into the end zone, touchdown!
Down the sideline, still Foley to the house.
And the players streaming from the sideline to celebrate with 17 seconds left.
Well, welcome in, everybody, to another edition of BVarsity Live Weekly. I'm Zach Ewing with Trevor Horn here in the downtown Bakersfield, California studios. We have a familiar guest or two here in our studio. Have you guys been in before?
For trying.
Yeah, that's right. Jakell, you were in. But Paul Golla's been in a bunch of times. We're going to let you start hosting the show, I think. You've been in so many times. This is the Bakersfield High football crew here. Coach Paul Golla on the end, quarterback KeAyr Gragg, and Jakell Tomlin, who's sort of a jack of all trades for the Drillers. And you guys played a whale of a game on Saturday, it sounds like, down in San Diego against Mountain Point. Came up on the short end of a 43-40 score. Let's pick the scab. Let's rehash that real quick. It sounded like a great game, Coach.
Oh, it was a great game. I mean, if you're a fan, they got every bit of it. After the game, the head guy from Under Armour came over and said it's the best game they've ever had. So
wow.
it was fun.
It was one of those games that went back and forth, back and forth. You guys would score, they would score, you would score, they would score. I think in the end, as it turned out, you missed a couple of extra points. They got a 2-pointer. Otherwise, it was an even game. And that's the kind of thing, KeAyr, that I guess kind of sticks in your craw a little bit. That's like so close yet so far away, right?
Yeah.
Get right up on those mics for me, guys, when you talk, if you don't mind. Jakell, how about you? What was it like playing in that game, kind of a neutral site in a real good team from another state?
I mean, it's kind of bigger than what I thought. Like, usually we see Liberty's pretty big, but they're much bigger than any team we played, except for maybe Oaks Christian.
Okay. Coach, you talk about these games against top-notch opponents as learning experiences, opportunities to find out who you are. What did you find out on Saturday?
I tell you what, we found out that we have a group of young men that are relentless, and it was exciting, because at any point in that game, it was hot, it was humid. At any point in those that our kids could have, turned to negativity or because we had a turnover here, big touchdown there, but there was never any negativity. Our leadership was outstanding, and I think that's the biggest thing is you always ask, hey, how are you guys going to be? And I said, I don't know, but I was really impressed with the leadership of our football team.
Is that something you need to see early in the season? How are we going to react to that adversity?
Absolutely. Every year is different, and it's easy when it's adverse hits. It's easy to get frustrated and start blaming, and never once saw it. All we saw were guys saying, "Heck yeah, let's go, bring it," and against an opponent like Mountain Point, they reminded me of a Long Beach Poly team, big, physical, athletic team, and we were right in there. And people say, I wish you could have scored, one more point. I kind of wish we could have held them to one less touchdown.
Yeah, 40 should be enough, right? Yeah, typically. KeAyr, after the game, how'd you guys feel getting on the bus, knowing you came up short, but maybe taking some positives away too?
I feel like we all felt good. I mean, nobody really wants to lose, but I felt like we all did a good fight. We all had a very good game. It just came down to the couple extra points.
Jakell, are you able to tell yourself in that moment this is going to be good for us in the long run?
Oh, yeah, definitely. After you see your team go out there and fight like that, you really think this could be good for us.
Yeah. Speaking of positive signs, KeAyr, you threw for 225 yards, which I think Trevor found out is the most for a BHS quarterback since Asani's junior season, the year before the state championship game, I think in the section playoff game. So all this talk about can KeAyr be a quarterback, can he throw the ball is that's gone now, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I know it was gone for you guys anyway, but now nobody else can talk about it either. How was the offense humming so well against such a good team?
I would say pretty much it was the offensive linemen where it started. They were doing real good blocks. Once we started to get the run game started, they started leaving Jakell open pretty much. And
then that's your go-to guy right there.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of adversity, last year's Edison game was probably as much as you guys had all season, at least until the end of the year. Losing by a point, probably a game you feel like you should have won. They made a long, crazy field goal that kid didn't make the rest of the year combined, and you guys missed one with a good kicker. I mean, it's just one of those things. And KeAyr, that was a game where I think you played the first half at quarterback and then didn't play the second half at quarterback. What do you guys remember about that trip, and how much do you look forward to getting a chance at the Tigers again?
I think if we fix the little things that we didn't fix last year, things could be different.
How about you, KeAyr?
Yeah, just like Jakell said, it's usually when you lose, it's always the little things. And that's the good thing about us is that we know how to do the little things good.
And I know Coach, you're not exactly in the results business, at least not at this point in the season. But you think back to that Edison game last year. That's one that sticks with you a little bit.
I tell you, KeAyr has grown. I mean, I can't even explain just how hard he's worked in the weight room, how hard he's worked to get where he's at right now, and he deserves. I mean, a lot of the credit for offense, putting us in some great, getting us out of some bad calls, putting us in some great calls offensively, and last year at this point, I don't think we were able to do that. Where right now he's done a great job, and we see when we have some threats to throw the ball, not just Jakell, but Alex, Fulmer, and Van Horn, and Darius, and so it's a different offense than it was last year for sure. And
that was obviously a defensive struggle last year, and Edison. They're going to bring that to the table. I mean, I know they lost quite a few guys, but they got that speed on defense. What do you guys see from them on film where they'll challenge you?
I would say their defensive line. They have a pretty big defensive line. They're pretty big up front, pretty strong. They got a pretty good core of linebackers. So
you guys left for this game in San Diego Saturday morning. Friday night, did you go out, see another game? Did you kind of stay at home and get some rest? How did you guys treat Friday night?
We went and watched a little bit of a Ridgeview game.
Okay. Both teams you'll play in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Frontier and Ridgeview. What'd you think of that?
Both teams had a couple of mistakes that should have been. If they would have corrected them, it would have been a completely different game.
How about you, Jakell?
I agree.
Coach, seriously, yeah, he talks about mistakes. We saw it from Liberty in their first game. I think it cost them because it wasn't Mission's first game. We saw it from North and Wasco, the games we were at. Trevor was talking about mistakes. I know a lot of our other writers were. That first game in high school football, you can prepare and prepare and prepare and prepare. You're going to have that a little bit, right, in that first game.
Well, you train so hard in the summer, and you could blame whatever you want on the first game, but the reality of usually from game 1 to 2 is the most improvement, and so we hope that we're going to have great improvement from week 1 to week 2.
That's why I never understood coaches who don't want to play week 0, because it just hurts you to play week 1 against somebody that's already played. That's the part of it I never understood. But hey, there's a special event going on at Griffith Field this Friday night too. Touchdowns for ALS, is that the name?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's Driller's assistant coach Lance McCullough has ALS, and that's obviously a huge struggle for him and people affiliated with him and anybody affected with that disease. We all know we had the Ice Bucket Challenge last year, which was kind of this huge fad, and then everybody forgot about it a month later. And now, so you guys are sort of bringing back awareness for the disease. And why don't you tell people what you guys are doing, Coach?
So after every touchdown, the bucket's going to go up in the stands, and we're asking people to donate money. We also have a T-shirt that says McCullough Fantastic, and all the proceeds will go to ALS. And after last year's big Ice Bucket Challenge, there's a lot of research, a lot of that money, a lot of things have been found with ALS. So, we have to make sure that the research stays on top and that we're funding that. And you don't have to be at the game, and you don't have to be a driller. If you want to donate, 100% is going to ALS, and by all means, send us a check to the SAB or whoever, and we'll get that in.
Now, is the bucket going around after only BHS touchdowns or both teams touchdowns?
No, we're going to do both.
Okay, I was going to say, otherwise we got to get Matt Johnson on the phone and say, hey, let him score a few times now. No, that's good, though. That's good. Maybe that means if you guys are up big, you let them score a couple times to get the bucket go around a couple times. Yeah. Win the game first. But seriously, though, guys, you have an assistant coach in Coach McCullough who's afflicted with this terrible disease. What have you learned about it as you've been close to somebody with it now?
I've learned he's taught me a lot since I've been there. I've been on varsity for about 2 years now, and every day I just see the stuff that he goes through and just wish him better every single day. He goes through a lot, and most people wouldn't be able to do that like how he does it.
Jakell, how about you? I mean, I think most people have heard of Lou Gehrig's disease. I don't know that they've seen it and see what it does to people.
I think if you're ever around him, you can't be sad because he always has a smile on his face. Like, even with his disease, he will motivate you to do better and not show you that he has a disease.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Coach, you've mentioned to me before, he just wants to be part of the crew. I mean, he doesn't want to be different. He's
phenomenal. I mean, honestly, he's always been a role model to me, but now even more the last 3 or 4 years there is never a bad day. And he always says, hey, just a walk in the park, just a walk in the park. And then I said, well, what kind of park, Coach?
Yeah.
And so that's the big joke. And you know, he's out. He's coaching at practice, coaching in the game, and he's a big part of what we do. You know, he has so much knowledge. I mean, he's been there all years I've been there. He's been there. He's the one guy that's been there all 11 years, and so he's a blessing for us.
You guys as seniors, Jakell, you a senior?
Yes.
Yeah, you guys are both seniors. Okay.
You're darn right. He's going to go for the 400 title this year,
That's right. For some reason, I think I was stuck in track season when you were still a junior. But anyway, you guys are seniors. Griffith Field was supposed to be in a renovation this year. Had you guys thought about that, hey, I'm not going to get to play my senior season at home, and then with the delay in construction, you do get to play your senior season at home. Is there any, sort of added special feeling because of that you didn't think you were going to get that?
Yeah, because we could possibly be the last class to play on the field in a while.
Yeah, and the original field, I mean, the one that Frank Gifford played on, that all these other great players played on. KeAyr, that crossed your mind?
Yeah, same. I was actually glad that we were going to get to play there because we would also get to graduate there too.
Sure.
Which most likely we would be the last class to graduate there before they did the new stadium.
Yeah,
that's a great way to look at it. I like that. Yeah. Paul, for you, I mean, the delay in the construction, hopefully you guys are going to do it again December or January at some point, right, is the plan to get the construction going for you over the last 11 years. Is there going to be any sadness for you, any memories lost? Are you going to take one final look at it as they start to kind of, work on it and reconstruct it?
I love our stadium. When I interviewed for the job 11 years ago, I looked up and saw all those championships up on the board, and that was one of the reasons why I talked to my wife, was the tradition of the school. So, it's going to put some they're going to put some beauty in it, but those old boards will stay up. So we're going to make sure we keep a lot of the tradition that was in there and not just replace it all.
Well, and maybe even at a point where it's going to be even more beautified, where you guys are going to be able to do more to honor the past.
Absolutely.
And honor what you guys obviously did 2 years ago, and then what the team did, almost a century ago, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Right on.
Well, hey, we're going to take a quick break, our first break on BVarsity Live. We'll bring these guys back here in a minute to talk a little more BHS football right after this on Bakersfield.com.